Hey, what's going on, Jordan?
How you doing, Jake?
Can you hear me? Everything's good?
Yep, can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, everything's perfect.
Awesome.
Hey, I really appreciate your time, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, I think I got to just start with the question I'm sure everyone's got to be asking, man. You're so successful in wrestling. You have a career you can continue to pursue in wrestling. Why pick MMA?
I think it's something that, I had eyes on for a while, being at Oklahoma State, coming up and watching DC go through his process and being very, very great friends with him. Something that I considered in 2016, almost made the transfer over myself in 2016 with guys like Ed Ruth and Pico and Tyrell Fortune. Decided not to, and now after doing the 2020 and making the Olympic team, uh, and also being 33 years old, I think with my eyes set on what I want to do, I think now is the window. It's now or never for me to get in and, become an MMA world champion.
And
Um,
so, would you say that, it was almost like you feel like you would have regretted it if you never did it down the line?
oh, for sure. For sure. That's something, even, making the decision, me and my lady were talking and she's just like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Right. Even like a couple weeks in, we're training and she's like, I'm coming home and, little bruises here and there. And she's like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I'm like, I love it. I love it. This is exactly what I want to do. So it was something that it was like, hey, it's now or never, but it's something that has interested me. And I like challenges. I like challenges. I like being the best in the world and wrestling. If now it's wrestling plus four or five different other crafts that you got to be great in as well. So it's a bigger challenge, but something that I can see myself not only putting my little spice on top of it, but also, being a champion that the people want to see.
So did anyone like really try to stop you? Like, listen, do not do this. We don't want to see, your loved ones. We don't want to see you get hit in the face or anything. Like,
Well, you have my mom, right?
yeah.
My mom, I'm like her little baby, right? I have an older brother. And my older brother, she's more like, okay, he's fine. He can go fight. But when it comes to me, she's like, oh no, you don't want to do that, Jordan. Right. So some of my close, family, my Aunt Rhonda, my mom, like I said, even my girlfriend questioned, but she knows the type of person I am and what I'm capable of. Um, but more so, everybody was very, very excited. Okay. And some of the wrestling side of were a little disappointed that I didn't go into coaching because I love the coach and I'm very, very good at it. But like I said, for my competition and for me and my goals that I want to reach and be an MMA world champion, um, the time was now.
And so, just to like educate me a little bit, like, what is the primary income when it comes to wrestling? Is it sponsorships, tutorial videos, or coaching, like you're saying?
So wrestling, you have sponsorships, obviously, and then usually wherever that you're at. So in my past case where I came from, I was at the NYCRTC, which is New York Regional Training Center. So you have these
Mm.
little regional training centers that are all over the country. Most are connected to colleges, right? And then you have some of them. The NYCRTC was actually connected to Columbia Wrestling, but was its own little entity as well, had its own little room. So you'll get sponsorships through the club and the club that you're competing for, but also you also have another sponsorship, whoever that club is under, right? So some of the clubs can be under, there's two big clubs in wrestling right now, which is like Sunkiss Kids Wrestling Club, which the club I was under, and guys like Burroughs and things like that. And then you have another wrestling club, which is very huge as well, is Titan Mercury Wrestling Club. All right. So you have these clubs, and obviously you have little sponsorships, whether it's your apparel, things like that. And then you have your sponsorship through your clubs, and then obviously your competitions, right? If you win them, you have incentives to make money, and then obviously you can do endorsement things like that. But wrestling is still growing. It's still getting to those pieces where we even got wrestlers now that you see going on to, do promotions for things like MyBookie and things like that. Just little ways to make money, but just like fighting, you have your club, you have different sponsorships that, support you, help you get you through it. And then the incentive's always the win, right? People love winning. So
Yeah,
winning takes itself.
and I feel like what you're saying with like wrestling growing, I feel like you see that a lot with like the national championships because they're always popular. But I feel like the past couple years, it's been like very mainstream. Like it seems like the whole sports world kind of follows it. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, and you get it. It's awesome just because you have, right, in the MMA world, the wrestlers are doing a very, very good job of, speaking of wrestlers and on wrestling. And you almost had that overlap where, UFC was, well, they were showing an Iowa wrestling match, right? So you're starting to get that little intertwinement, which is
Mm.
very, very good for the sport of wrestling, but also, wrestlers, to make an Olympic team to go to the Olympics, you got to be one of six guys, right? So it's you and five other guys. And for how many wrestlers there are, this is, not everybody can make the Olympic team and go on and win world titles. But, even 98% of those guys would be very, very successful, if not be pushing to win a world title and MMA. Right. So it's good to see just because, and then you have some guys that, necessarily some guys that their vision isn't to go to the Olympics and worlds. Right. Some guys I've met guys before that came and wrestled and their visions to win national titles. And then after they want to go and go after their MMA vision. Right. So I think it's done a good job. I think both sports are working hand in hand, right? Because wrestlers are doing very well in MMA. And now you see MMA like promoting and showing some wrestling, which is very cool on the wrestling side, right?
And so why Killcliff FC? Because obviously everybody knows there's so many talented fighters there, but right down the street you got America's American top team. So why Killcliff?
I think first and foremost, um, you look at Kill Cliff as a whole, right? You got the coaching staff with Henry Hoof and Jason Strout, Sean Soriano, Greg Jones. Let me say that again, Greg Jones, right? Big wrestler. Um, Nick Lentz, you know, all of these people. But then you go deeper and you see the people that they trained and who trained there, and even before Kill Cliff, and if it was Sanford or before that, Henry's gym was called the Black Zillions. Uh, Henry has a very, very good list of not only fighters but wrestlers that he has worked with, such as Kamaru Usman and Michael Chandler, and you got guys like Gilbert Burns, and just you're surrounded by so many high level athletes and coaches, right? Coaches are great, but when you have partners and athletes that are holding you accountable, I mean, if I throw a sloppy jab, trust me, I'm getting cracked, right? Which on the flip side, you hate it and you love it. You're like, dang, okay, I hate it because I just got cracked, but you love it because you're like, you learn that quick, right? So your partners hold you accountable. It's almost like something I took from wrestling. Like, why did I choose Oklahoma State? Well, I chose Oklahoma State, one, because John Smith is the best wrestling coach, best USA wrestler to the date, right? Two, he's also been where I want to go. But three, we had a killer room, right? So not only are the coaches good, but my workout partners that I am training with and I am building with and I'm evolving with that are helping me. I knew wrestling them every day. When I go out and whoever I'm wrestling, it doesn't matter because I am way more prepared than they are. And I fight, well, let's just say I was wrestling national champions at the time. I'm like, this guy has nothing he can bring to the table for me that's going to worry me. Right. And it kind of goes back into this MMA world. Now, I put myself in a situation with not only the best coaches, but the best training partners, right? And the best facility where I'm training with top level mixed martial artists every day, whether it's kickboxers, whether it's, Muay Thai fighters, whether it's grapplers, jujitsu. I'm doing it all, and I'm training with top level guys constantly. So, not only am I getting better, but I'm seeing these higher level and high experience guys to where some of these guys I'm going with, they're champs or been champs in their promotions, and they're building right now to become champs in their promotions that they're in. But I'm fighting very high level guys that I think outside of my gym, whoever I fight is not going to be able to match whatever Sean Soriano can do in the room and push me to do, right? Or Darian Caldwell, right? Or Richie Lewis, right? So not only do I have some killer fighters, but I have like killer wrestlers that are also on their transition and building that are, won the belt, and Darian and Richie Lewis, who's building right now. So those guys keep me, they hold me accountable with my wrestling as well.
And just one thing before we talk about your upcoming fight, man, can we get Richie Lewis off of the regional scene? Because I've been following this guy for a while, and it's like, enough, dude. Like, he's smashing these guys, and it's like, let's get this guy up to like a good
Yeah,
promotion
yeah.
because he's very talented.
He's so good. He's so good. He's actually been a very, very huge help with me. Just from the first day, me and Richie are very close to making the transition. The dude's phenomenal. And I don't even think the world has even seen him showcase how good his striking is. But this guy not only can strike, but you see him wrestle, you see his grappling. It's phenomenal. But to be honest, his striking's even better. And when he gets comfortable to really let go and not even have to use wrestling, I'm telling you, watch out, world. But he is, I know he has his eyes set on, making that transition to get into the UFC. I know, especially after that last fight, he even called it out. So I know that's a big push for him. And I know all of us want to see him get there as well because he's ready.
And so, talk about your upcoming fight, Andrew Triolo, 0-1. What do you want to get out of this fight? Because listen, I'm a huge advocate for don't underestimate anybody. A fight is a fight. Anything could happen. But on paper, you should be able to smash this guy. So do you want to go in there and make a statement? Is it just about gaining experience? What do you want to get out of this fight?
Uh, right. First and foremost, it's always gain experience. Right. It's my first fight. The feelings, the atmosphere, you just want to live in the moment. I don't want to treat it like it's this special event. I want to treat it as every day, right? As every competition here, and don't let nothing affect me, right? Get to the competition and not only focus having on my best performance, but also we want to smash this guy. Right? With that being said, we got to be controlled chaos, right? Very disciplined chaos. But one thing I was known for in wrestling is being a crowd pleaser. People love to watch me. So I think, especially in MMA, that's something that I want to do. I want to give the crowd a reason to watch, to tune in, to want to watch Jordan Oliver, to want to be a Jordan Oliver fan, right? So there's that balance where you want to go out and, give the fans more than their expectations, but also, knowing this is my first fight, I also got to be smart and collected to not put myself in any positions that could threaten the win or jeopardize, my debut.
And so, last question for me. I know it's kind of tough right now to talk about a title or even a time frame, but what is a general time frame you would think it'd be to fight for a title? Because like you were saying before, you don't tend to see a guy make his MMA debut at 33, so you're going to have to work a little bit faster than most guys. So when do you see yourself fighting for a title? 2 years, a year? When do you see it happening?
See, if you were to ask me that as a high level athlete and the way I work, I'd say, you give me a year
Mm-hmm.
and I'm even perfect. I could be very much heavily ego weighed and be like 6 months, and I'll be in shape and ready to fight for a title. but, also having respect and just, you know, knowing what these guys go through now that I'm training. There's a lot to learn, and very, very, um, there's very few little windows that you don't want to make mistakes in that are easy to make mistakes in, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I let that up to my management and my team coaches to see my the way I'm evolving and what that timeline looks like. But like I said, as long as I feel the way I am feeling now and I keep evolving at the pace I am, man, I wouldn't put it past me to be, pushing for a title shot in a year, right? Because I just want to stay busy. So even after this first fight, it's like, hey, let me get this first fight out the way. Oh, there's another fight in 2 weeks, a month, 2 months that I can get on. Please, I'd like to get on that card. So I want to be active, and I want to hit the ground running, right? And not necessarily you want to just blow past everybody because there's levels, right? And I got to understand and keep getting better and challenging myself. But, with my work ethic and my mindset, you give me a year and I'd be in more than great position to challenge for a title.
Yeah, well, for whatever it means, I know it's not much. I believe the hype. I cannot wait to see you fight, man. I really appreciate your time and I hope for all the best for you moving forward.
Thanks so much. I appreciate your time and very grateful for you allowing me to come on and speak about my debut and just my process and what to expect.
Of course, anytime. I hope you have a great